Namaskar. A warm welcome to World News, an Indian perspective on All India Radio. This is Nishit Kumar and with me is Renuka, bringing glimpses of major developments of the day from across the globe. Over the next half an hour, we shall bring you the latest from the world of politics, economy, sports, entertainment and more. The headlines. COVID vaccination for all above 45 years begins in India. New Delhi says BIMSTEC enjoys the unique strength of connecting South and Southeast Asia. 2,000 Bangladeshi students to get India's Mukti Jodha scholarships. Relief to Indian IT professionals as US allows H1B visa ban to expire. WHO says Europe's rollout of vaccination against COVID-19 is unacceptably slow. France enters the third national lockdown. UN calls on Myanmar's neighboring countries to offer refuge and protection to people fleeing violence. Superstar Rajnikanth to be honored with Dada Saheb Phalke Award for the year 2019. And in tennis, defending champion Ashley Barty to take on 5th seed Elina Svitolina in women's singles semi-final of Miami Open shortly. As the number of COVID cases are on the rise again, we appeal to our listeners not to lower the guard, follow all the precautions, and all those above 45 years to get vaccinated without any hesitation. Stay safe and protected by following these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, and focus on hand and face hygiene. And now the news in detail. COVID-19 vaccination for everyone aged above 45 years began in India on Thursday. The cut-off date for the 45-plus year category is those persons born before 1st of January 1977. The comorbidities clause has been removed to make the system simpler. A report from our correspondent.
All persons of 45 years and above can register themselves in the CoWIN system for booking of appointment for vaccination. On-site registration of such persons also permissible. People can go to their nearest vaccination center after 3 p.m. for on-site registration with any identity document. If a beneficiary has taken an online appointment for vaccination on CoWIN, then there is no need to take any further appointment at private or public hospitals. If any hospital doesn't follow these guidelines of vaccination, then one must lodge a complaint at toll-free number 1075. The vaccination centers in the national capital are witnessing enthusiastic response on the first day as people aged 45 above are turning up voluntarily to get the vaccine shot. With Suparna, Anupam Mish, AR News Delhi.
Over 6 crore 51 lakh doses of COVID vaccine have been administered to the beneficiaries in the country so far. Union Health Minister said that more than 20 lakh doses were given to the beneficiaries in the last 24 hours. A total number of 72,330 new cases have been reported in the country in the past 24 hours, taking the cumulative positive cases to over 1 crore 22 lakhs. Meanwhile, the country's COVID-19 recovery rate is 93.89%, with a total recovery of more than 40,000 patients in the last 24 hours. Maldives has received another 100,000 doses of the Made in India COVID-19 vaccine. High Commission of India and Maldives in its statement said the latest delivery of vaccines will help Maldives to commence with the second dose of vaccinations for its people. Despite the export restrictions and domestic requirements of the vaccines, India has assisted in securing the supplies of these vaccines procured under a commercial arrangement between Government of Maldives and the Serum Institute of India. Earlier in January, India had gifted 100,000 doses to Maldives under its Vaccine Maitri initiative. Maldives was the first country to receive Made in India vaccines as gift within 96 hours of their countrywide rollout in India.
India has said that the recently released WHO-convened global study on the origin of COVID-19 represents an important first step in establishing the origins of the COVID-19 pandemic. The report has listed 4 pathways concerning the emergence of the disease, but has stressed the need for next phase studies across the region. The report also stresses the need for further data and studies to reach robust conclusions. In response to media queries, the External Affairs Ministry said India fully supports the Director General of the WHO expectation that future collaborative studies will include more timely and comprehensive data sharing. He said New Delhi also welcomes WHO DG's readiness to deploy additional missions. The ministry said India joins other stakeholders in voicing their expectations that follow up to the WHO report of further studies, including on an understanding of the earliest human cases and clusters by the WHO on this critical issue will receive the fullest cooperation of all concerned. It added that India shares the need for a comprehensive and expert-led mechanism that would expeditiously investigate the origin of COVID-19. External Affairs Minister of India Dr. S. Jaishankar has said India remains committed to further building the momentum of regional cooperation under the BIMSTEC framework and make the organization stronger, vibrant, more effective and result-oriented. Delivered a statement at the 17th BIMSTEC ministerial meeting being held virtually today, Dr. Jaishankar expressed confidence that BIMSTEC would scale new heights in the times to come with the collective efforts and spirit of cooperation. He said BIMSTEC enjoys the unique strength of connecting South and Southeast Asia, and it has steadily gained prominence in the Indian foreign policy. Dr. Jaishankar said participation of BIMSTEC leaders at Indian government's swearing-in ceremony in May 2019 was a testament to it. He said BIMSTEC over the years has emerged as a promising sub-regional grouping with growing strategic and economic interests of the member states as well as of the international community in the Bay of Bengal region. The minister said our collective resolve to impart a fresh dynamism to BIMSTEC has rejuvenated the organization. He expressed happiness that the region is witnessing rapid economic growth with growing political and economic cooperation among the member states.
Our collective resolve to impart a fresh dynamism to BIMSTEC has rejuvenated the organization. I'm glad that the region is witnessing rapid economic growth with growing political and economic cooperation among the member states. It is a matter of satisfaction that BIMSTEC has achieved significant progress in many of the priority areas of cooperation. I'm happy to note that member states have agreed on rationalization of sectors and subsectors of cooperation. I'm also delighted to note that the text of the BIMSTEC Charter has been finalized. We hope that all member states will timely complete their internal procedures for its adoption at the 5th BIMSTEC Summit.
Dr. Jaishankar said India had announced several initiatives at the last BIMSTEC summit in Kathmandu to further strengthen BIMSTEC cooperation and capacity building in diverse areas. He expressed happiness that many of these initiatives have already been implemented. Dr. Jaishankar said development and prosperity go hand in hand with peace and security. He said the region faced both traditional and non-traditional security challenges, and cooperation in the security sector has a special significance for the region. The minister said national security advisors of member states have met thrice since 2017, and they have been working closely and moved forward in several aspects of security cooperation, including counter-terrorism, intelligence sharing, coastal security and cyber security in a tangible manner. Dr. Jaishankar expressed happiness that BIMSTEC Convention on Cooperation in Combating International Terrorism, Transnational Organized Crime and Illicit Drug Trafficking has come into force last month, and BIMSTEC Convention on Mutual Legal Assistance in Criminal Matters has been finalized for signing at the 5th BIMSTEC Summit. He said these conventions will provide a robust legal basis to further strengthen our cooperation in this sector. The minister said disaster management is another important area of collaboration among the BIMSTEC countries having similar geoclimatic conditions. He said BIMSTEC Center for Weather and Climate being hosted in India is fully functional with the state-of-the-art facilities to provide disaster early warning.
Polling for the second phase of assembly elections was held on Thursday in the Indian states of Assam and West Bengal. As per the latest updates, over 80% voter turnout has been reported from 30 assembly seats of West Bengal. In Assam, over 73% voting has been registered in 39 assembly constituencies. The Election Commission of India said the polling in the two states was conducted peacefully. Elaborate arrangements were made for COVID-safe, intimidation-free and inducement-free elections. The Commission expressed gratitude to all stakeholders, especially the voters, for their enthusiastic and fearless participation in the election process. Defence Minister of India Rajnath Singh has congratulated DRDO and DMS RDE Kanpur for developing a lightweight bulletproof jacket. In a tweet, Mr. Singh said India needs more such innovative product design and development to realize the dream of Atmanirbhar Bharat. DMS RDE Kanpur, a DRDO laboratory, has developed a lightweight bulletproof jacket weighing 9 kg, meeting the qualitative requirements of the Indian Army. The front hard armor panel jacket was tested successfully at TBRL Chandigarh and met relevant BIS standards. Government of India is focusing on alternative fuels like hydrogen cell to reduce dependence on fossil fuels. Making a move in this direction, the country's largest power generator, National Thermal Power Corporation NTPC, is going to issue tender to procure vehicles which run on hydrogen fuel. NTPC officials said the tender is going to be issued within 2 weeks. Hydrogen fuel has the potential to provide clean energy. It is considered an effective tool to combat the climate change problem. In this year's union budget, the government had announced to launch the National Hydrogen Energy Mission, which is aimed to provide a roadmap for using hydrogen as an energy source. The mission is also aimed at developing India as a global hub for the manufacturing of hydrogen and fuel cells technologies. The Ministry of New and Renewable Energy is supporting research and development program on hydrogen energy and fuel. 2 hydrogen refueling stations have been established in Faridabad and Gurugram.
The 4th batch of 3 Rafale fighter jets arrived in India from France on Wednesday. The Indian Air Force in a tweet said that the 3 IAF Rafales landed on Indian soil after a direct ferry from Istres Air Base, France. It said Rafales were refueled in flight by UAE Air Force tankers. It said this marks yet another milestone in the strong relationship between the two air forces. 13 roads built using Indian grant assistance of Nepali rupees 800 crores were inaugurated in southern Nepal's Terai region on Wednesday. A report.
Ambassador of India to Nepal, Vinay Mohan Quatra, and Nepal's Minister for Physical Infrastructure and Transport, Basant Kumar Nimbang, jointly dedicated the project to the people of Nepal. Indian Embassy in Nepal, in its statement, said that Government of Nepal identified 10 priority roads to be built under Government of India funding of 800 crore Nepali rupees. These Terai roads are also called as Hulaki Rajmarg and connect major towns located on the east-west highway with India-Nepal border. These 10 roads are located in 7 border districts of Nepal and provide smooth travel experience to the people. The Government of India funded Terai road packages in Nepal are built as per the specifications prescribed by Department of Roads of Nepal. The project has been implemented under Government of India funding and Government of Nepal implementation modality. The project has helped strengthen road infrastructures in Terai region of Nepal and further boost people-to-people relationship between the border areas of the two countries. These completed Hulaki roads also complement the other major border infrastructure developed by India in Nepal, such as integrated checkpost at Birganj and Biratnagar and cross-border railway lines. The Government of India funded cross-border railway line between Jayanagar in India and Kurtha in Nepal has also been completed and is ready for handing over to Nepal for running passenger train operations. In this regard, both sides are working on completing the final preparations for passenger train operations. Swati Rakheja, World News.
The India-Bangladesh ties are historic and multidimensional. India is keen to support the national effort of Bangladesh for the betterment of their own people. In order to further the people-to-people ties between the two countries, India provides scholarship for the descendants of the liberation war fighters of Bangladesh. A report from our Dhaka correspondent on the grant of scholarship to 2,000 Bangladeshi students.
The Government of India has announced scholarships to 2,000 descendants of the Liberation War fighters of Bangladesh under its new Mukti Jodha Scholarship Scheme. The scheme was launched in 2017 during the visit of Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina to India. Under this scheme, 1,000 students each from the higher secondary and undergraduate categories have started receiving the amount of scholarship for this year directly in their account since yesterday. The new scheme was aimed to benefit 10,000 students from Bangladesh over a period of 5 years. The scholarship carries an amount of 20,000 taka for students of higher secondary and 50,000 taka to undergraduate category students who are direct descendants of Mukti Jodhas or Liberation War fighters of Bangladesh. The Government of India has sanctioned an amount of 35 crore taka for both schemes combined together. As of now, 17,082 students have benefited under this scheme, and an amount of close to taka 38 crore has been utilized for this purpose. The Mukti Jodha scholarship scheme was started in the year 2006 for the descendants of Mukti Jodhas. Originally, scholarships were awarded to higher secondary and undergraduate level students. Undergraduate students were awarded taka 24,000 per year for 4 years, and higher secondary students were awarded taka 10,000 per year for 2 years. Rajesh Jha, AIR News, Dhaka.
Indian Army will participate in the multinational military exercise, namely Shantir Ogroshena 2021 in Bangladesh. The 9 days exercise will start on the 4th of this month to commemorate the birth centenary of Bangladesh's father of the nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, and mark the glorious 50 years of liberation. Indian Army contingent comprising 30 personnel from the Dogra Regiment will participate in the exercise along with contingents of Bhutan, Sri Lanka and Bangladesh armies. The theme of the exercise is robust peacekeeping operations. Military observers from the USA, UK, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait and Singapore will also be in attendance throughout the exercise. This is All India Radio giving you the world news.
3 steps to stay protected and stay safe from COVID-19. Wear face mask, 2 gaz ki duri to maintain social distancing, maintain hand and face hygiene.
Welcome back. Now let us take a look at coronavirus updates from around the world.
The World Health Organization's European head Hans Kluge said on Thursday that Europe's rollout of vaccinations against COVID-19 is unacceptably slow. In France, President Emmanuel Macron on Thursday announced third national lockdown, closing schools for 3 weeks and banning domestic travel for a month to fight rising COVID-19 cases. In a televised address to the nation, President Macron said the country will lose control if it do not move now. He said the schools will move to remote learning from next week. Lockdown measures introduced in some areas of France earlier this month have also been extended to other districts. All non-essential shops are to close from Saturday, and there will be a ban on travelling more than 10 kilometers from home without good reason. Greece will ease some COVID-19 lockdown curbs to relieve people's fatigue and allowing small retail shops to reopen. Italy has made COVID-19 vaccine mandatory for all health workers. Finnish Prime Minister Sanna Marin withdraws COVID-19 lockdown proposal from Parliament. The decision came after its Parliament committee termed it unconstitutional. Vatican has begun vaccinating around 100 poor and homeless people who had been identified living in Rome. Japan said on Thursday that it would impose emergency measures such as shorter business hours and asking people to work from home in the western region of Osaka to halt a rebound in COVID-19 cases. South Korea said on Thursday that it will issue COVID-19 vaccine passports to immunized citizens. The certificates will help to revive cross-border travel while keeping infection risks under control. Australia ended a lockdown of its third biggest city, Brisbane, on Thursday. Russia said on Thursday that China's top-reach pharma has agreed to produce more than 100 million doses of its two-shot Sputnik V vaccine against COVID-19. Abhishek Mukhopadhyay for World News, All India Radio.
The COVID-19 pandemic continued its upward trend in Bangladesh with 6,469 new cases reported on Thursday. This is the highest single-day number of infection since the first case was reported on March the 8th last year. The figure comes on top of record 5,358 new infections reported on Wednesday. The country also reported 59 deaths on Thursday, which is the second highest number of deaths due to COVID-19. The highest number of 64 deaths was recorded on June the 30th last year.
As the crisis in Myanmar enters its third month, the United Nations has called on Myanmar's neighboring countries to offer refuge and protection to all those fleeing violence and persecution.
In addition to the political strife across the country, renewed fighting between Myanmar's military and ethnic armed organizations in some border areas are driving people to flee within the country and across borders. Gillian Triggs, Assistant High Commissioner for Protection at UN Refugee Agency, said that it is vital that anyone crossing the border seeking asylum in another country is able to access it. She urged the neighboring countries to protect children, women and men who have been fleeing for their lives from conflict region. The situation across Myanmar has deteriorated rapidly since the military coup on 1st of February. According to United Nations Human Rights Office, at least 510 peaceful protesters have been killed by the security forces and over 2,600 are in detentions. Earlier on Wednesday, Christine Schraner Burgener, UN Special Envoy in Myanmar, warned that the security and economic consequences of the crisis in the wider region are worsening and the influx of refugees is just the beginning. The UN Human Rights Office urged countries to put in place measures to ensure migrants from Myanmar do not fall into situations of irregularity, as many may be fearful of returning to renew their visas. Abhishek Mukhopadhyay for World News, All India Radio.
The White House has said that the national security advisors for the United States and the Philippines discussed their shared concerns over Chinese activities in the South China Sea. Earlier on Wednesday, the Philippines had described the presence of hundreds of Chinese boats inside its 200-mile exclusive economic zone in the South China Sea as swarming and threatening. Canada, Australia and the United States, Japan and other nations have voiced concern about China's intentions in the South China Sea.
The U.S. ban on foreign workers' visa, especially H1B, has expired. U.S. President Joe Biden allowed the ban notification issued by his predecessor, Donald Trump, to expire as its validity lapsed on Wednesday. This is being considered a big relief for thousands of Indian IT professionals. Former U.S. President Donald Trump had issued a proclamation in June last year suspending entry to the U.S. of applicants for several temporary and or non-like immigrant visa categories, including H1B. The ban was extended to March 31, 2021. Trump had said that an extension is needed as the pandemic continued to disrupt Americans' lives and high levels of unemployment and job loss and serious economic challenges to workers across the U.S. President Biden did not issue a fresh proclamation for the ban on H1B visas to continue after March 31st. He had assured to lift the suspension on H1B visas, saying Trump's immigration policies were cruel.
In the U.S., 4 people were killed, one of them a child, in a shooting incident on Wednesday at an office building in suburban Los Angeles. The suspect, wounded in an exchange of gunfire with police, was taken into custody. The violence in the city of Orange, southeast of Los Angeles, was the nation's third mass shooting in just over 2 weeks. The shooting erupted in a 2-story office building that opens into an inner courtyard ringed by several businesses. The shooting came a little more than 2 weeks after 8 people were shot to death by a gunman who went on a rampage at 3 Atlanta area day spas on March 16th. 10 people were killed on March 22nd when a man opened fire at a supermarket in Boulder, Colorado. This is All India Radio giving you the world news.
Now the news from Business World. The Sensex and the Nifty today logged gains of more than 1%. The Sensex at Bombay Stock Exchange closed above 50,000 mark amid strong gains in the global equity markets. The Nifty at National Stock Exchange settled above 14,800 level. A report from the Business World.
The Sensex surged 521 points or 1.05% to end at 50,030. The Nifty at National Stock Exchange also climbed 177 points or 1.2% to finish at 14,867. The mid-cap and small-cap performed better than the Sensex. The mid-cap index rose 1.66% while the BSE small-cap index zoomed 2.05%. In the Sensex pack, shares of 26 companies gained while 4 logged losses, while in the sectoral indices, 17 out of 19 sectors climbed. In the global equity market, Asia-Pacific stocks climbed amid strong economic data of developing Asian countries and a new $2.25 trillion U.S. infrastructure plan. Hong Kong's Hang Seng climbed 2% and South Korea's Kospi gained 0.9%. Japan's Nikkei 225 and China's Shanghai Composite Index both rose 0.7%, while Singapore's Straits Times added 0.5%. European stocks were also up in intraday trade. Oil prices rose on optimism about U.S. and European economic recoveries and hopes that OPEC and its allies will keep production curbs in place. In intraday trade, the Brent was trading around $63.10 per barrel. Back home, gold prices today gained 60 rupees per 10 gram at multi-commodity exchange for April contracts. Gold futures were trading around 44,700 rupees per 10 gram. Silver futures also added 150 rupees to trade at around 63,970 rupees per kilogram for May contracts. And at the forex market, the rupee weakened 33 paisa to 73 rupees and 44 paisa against the US dollar. Anubha Rohadki for World News All India Radio.
Now let us take a look at the major developments around the world as reported in the foreign press.
The Washington Post reports Biden's $2 trillion infrastructure plan faces criticism over price tag and design. The New York Times reports that Biden unveils $174 billion plan to fill roads with electric cars. The Guardian reports that Thailand pro-democracy activists charge over protest near Queen's motorcade. It also carried a report that Pfizer vaccine has 100% efficacy against South African variant in small trial. The Sydney Morning Herald has reported that Myanmar's deposed leader Aung San Suu Kyi and her Australian advisor charged with violating the country's colonial-era Official Secrets Act. The Globe and the Mail reports that Dutch Parliament to hold no confidence vote on caretaker PM Mark Rutte. South China Morning Post writes that building massive river dams is seen as a relatively cheap and clean way to help meet China's target of being carbon neutral by 2060. And Khalij Times reports that Dubai police arrest a French drug lord, Mofide Bouchibi, involved in drug trafficking and smuggling operations across Europe. Abhishek Mukhopadhyay for World News, All India Radio.
Now some news from the world of sports.
In tennis, defending champion Ashley Barty will face Ukrainian fifth seed Elina Svitolina in the women's singles semifinals of the Miami Open tonight as per Indian Standard Time. In the other semifinal, 8th seed Bianca Andreescu of Canada will take on Greek player Maria Sakkari tomorrow early morning. Sakkari defeated women's world number 2 and Australian Open champion Naomi Osaka 6-0, 6-4 in the quarterfinals, while Andreescu beat Spaniard Sara Sorribes Tormo 6-4, 3-6, 6-3 for a place in the last four. In the other upset of the tournament, top seed Daniil Medvedev also crashed out of the Miami Open after losing to 7th seed Spaniard Roberto Bautista Agut 4-6, 2-6 in the men's singles quarterfinals. Bautista Agut will face Italian teenager Jannik Sinner in the semifinals. Sinner overcame Alexander Bublik 7-6, 6-4 in the quarterfinals. Second seed Greek Stefanos Tsitsipas will meet Polish player Hubert Hurkacz in the others quarterfinal match tonight. In the remaining quarterfinal, fourth seed Russian Andrei Rublev will take on American Sebastian Korda tomorrow morning.
Veteran actor superstar Rajnikanth will be honored with the prestigious Dada Saheb Phalke Award for the year 2019. Information and Broadcasting Minister of India Prakash Javadekar made this announcement on Thursday. The award will be given on the 3rd of next month. In a tweet, Mr. Javadekar described him as one of the greatest actors in the history of Indian cinema. He said Rajnikanth's contribution as an actor, producer and screenwriter has been iconic. Dada Saheb Phalke Award is the highest honor of Indian cinema. The musical instruments of India bring along a rich heritage and form an integral part of the cultural traditions of the country. Today, we introduce our listeners the musical instrument Panchamukha Vadyam. Panchamukha Vadyam is a huge 5-faced metal drum mounted on a special stand or kept in position on a 4-wheel carriage. The shell is of bronze and from its top emerge 5 hollow cylinders. These cylinders are covered with skin. The drum's heads are all on the same level. And now, before we close, a quick look at the headlines once again. COVID vaccination for all above 45 years begins in India. New Delhi says BIMSTEC enjoys the unique strength of connecting South and Southeast Asia. 2,000 Bangladeshi students to get India's Mukti Jodha scholarships. Relief to Indian IT professionals as US allows H1B visa ban to expire. WHO says Europe's rollout of vaccinations against COVID-19 is unacceptably slow. France enters third national lockdown. UN calls on Myanmar's neighboring countries to offer refuge and protection to people fleeing violence. Superstar Rajnikanth to be honored with the Dada Saheb Phalke Award for the year 2019. And in tennis, defending champion Ashley Barty to take on 5th seed Elina Svitolina in the women's singles semifinals of Miami Open shortly. India is celebrating the 151st birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi. Before we end, let us listen to his favorite bhajan Vaishnavajan by artists from Maldives. And with that, we end this bulletin. See you at the same time tomorrow with the next edition of World News.